Welcome to the Empower Hour with Greater Nashville Mental Health. The Empower Hour will provide information and support about mental health, substance use, and behavioral health. Our goal is to share inspiring stories about transforming lives, to strike down stigma, and to encourage our community to reach out and get help when needed. Mental health is part of all of our lives. It's time we talk about it. I'm Dr. Cynthia Whitaker, President and CEO of Greater Nashville Mental Health, and it's time to get empowered. Hello, and welcome to the Empower Hour with Greater Nashville Mental Health. I'm Dr. Cynthia Whitaker, and I have the privilege of being the CEO at Greater Nashville Mental Health. Today, we have a special episode. We are celebrating our 5th year anniversary of the Empower Hour, and we are celebrating a 40-year employee of Greater Nashville Mental Health. Susan Mead was our very first guest on the Empower Hour with Greater Nashville Mental Health 5 years ago. And she is here with me today before she retires on her 40-year anniversary of employment with us. Welcome to the show, Susan.
Thank you, Cynthia. It's a privilege to be here with you.
So I know we did this 5 years ago, and so much has changed in those 5 years, as well as just reflecting on your amazing career of 40 years. I know this might be emotional at points, just thinking about the gratitude you feel and just all the things, and that's okay. But what I'd love to just start with, tell folks what you've done throughout your 40 years. Like, what's your current role that you're retiring from, and maybe a couple of the high points along the way?
So I've been hired since 1991 under a grant called PATH, which is Projects for Assistance in Transition from Homelessness. So my role is to try and help engage those who might have a mental health issue or a mental health and substance issue and help engage them into services. It also allowed for me to do some training on mental health. And as a Crisis Prevention Institute instructor, I threw in CPI. There's some de-escalation techniques I would also pass on when we did trainings. In brief, I started, there were 55 employees. We're over 200. We had paper records, and now we have EMR, electronic medical records. We went from beepers to now we have cell phones, right? But I started as a case manager. I have my master's in clinical psychology, and so, but I started as a case manager, then helped with a multi-service team, which is similar to our ACT services, acute care treatment team for lower caseloads. Then I ran an emergency services triaging with the Southern New Hampshire Medical Center Access while being the state hospital liaison for, I want to say, 30 years.
That's a big chunk of those years.
Yeah, a big chunk of those years. So you took the admission calls and helped with discharges. But the love of my passion here is the PATH outreach. And it really helped show some of the cracks in the system, if you will. If we didn't, we needed to reach out more often, right, with the community. I was losing track of folks getting in trouble with the law. And so I think one of the real feathers in my cap is trying to, as you said, convene people from the different disciplines, from judges, prosecutors, public defenders, the area agencies, city welfare, and talking to each other, the jails. And we didn't really have a good mechanism back then, and that has mushroomed into something grand that I'm not part of anymore, but it helped initiate. But that, I think that's the real gift I think I've brought to the agency is the mental health court initiation. Again, when Judge Leary came on board, he was the third judge. It really mushroomed, and he took the reins. Many heroes. Ed Kirby was the NAMI, Representative Marine. So he had a voice, he was heard, and he helped keep the needle moving that we could all do better. And we are. I mean, today, Tim McNamara is now overseeing all the court programs. I like that you did that. There's sort of the oversight of all of the things we're doing in court now, along with Andrea, who is, I'm dropping names, sorry, but
okay.
She's wonderful.
In the mental
knows
health court,
that the mental health court. She's studied other states. She has this 10 best practice that she's running it by. She's really, it's stronger than ever. So a couple of things have happened this week where somebody connected who was living in a car has now been housed. Somebody who was struggling with getting a case manager has a case manager now. It's a good fit. I feel like there's been a nice warm handoff of some of the things I've been concerned about that I don't need to be concerned about because we have a team of amazing workers. I'm really grateful for my team, as I call Greater National Mental Health. But
it sounds to me like in the beginning, you were in positions where you were seeing, cracks in the system, places where we could do better, because you were truly boots on the ground in places where others didn't travel at that time. And you took that and didn't just say, this is how it is, but really just kept pushing the agency, the community to talk and get together and figure it out.
Right. We all have different boundaries, acronyms, mission statements. Police have police standards, operation standards. We have our ethics and our boundaries and different protocols, right? So it was appreciating each other's roles, but learning more about each other, how we could help each other. It was really building a bridge between systems, and we've done that. That intensity is over, not the growth. I think you'll always see, I remember one of the liaisons says, when is this going to stop evolving? I'm like, probably never.
Yeah.
Right? It's sort of what I think we try to meet the need of what's going on. I think of COVID, you guys came up with telehealth within days. We've been through some struggles already. I won't, but I think the leadership is different in that I think there's a little cultural shift in that the compassion feels also with our staff as it does clients. I just remember a real focus on direct service was the mission that was pounded to keep the lights on, which is very important. However, there's another layer of care I feel that's gone on since I've been there. It's that has shifted in a really nice way.
Yeah, and I think that reflects the world, right? Like as we decrease the stigma of mental health, we recognize the mental health of the staff impacts the way we can care for the clients, the health of an agency. An agency is simply a system made up of humans, right? So it's a human system. So it needs to heal and it holds trauma. And so applying those things we know about humans, I think
that's important. The thing that's carried, that's the same, is the type of person attracted to work with us is really about that, understanding there's that compassion that in the trainings, I will say, the Surgeon General will say 1 in 5 people will experience a major mental illness during their life. And I always say, given enough stress, it's any one of us. It's 1-on-1. Life is difficult. And I think we all bring our story to it. So I think there's another level of compassion, of understanding, having either been through help and gotten the help and see that it works, that it's okay to need help. I think it's often easier to offer the help than get the help, right?
Yeah, for sure.
But I'd like to think that's changing. That I think I'm constantly trying to say we all have our struggles and we all have our day. But
yeah, I think when people hear that statistic, 1 in 5, they think, oh, the one is outside of this room. But if you put any 5 people in the room,
Exactly.
The statistic is one of those 5 people. So that means our team, which is 280
Now, we
strong
are?
from your
Wow.
55 start,
Wow.
280 employees, right? I mean, 1 in 5 applies to that 280 the same way it applies to any other organization
Right.
or group of 280. And yes, there's high-risk groups and things like that, but the general statistic holds.
And you think about our physical health, right? We all have physical health. We all have mental health.
Yeah, we sure do.
It's sort of someday. It's not today, but someday that will be. I think they're trying to make that a better talking point. That's okay to talk about. We talk about our diabetes, or if somebody has a cancer diagnosis, but it's untypical to say, gosh, my anxiety's up today, or, it seems the depression is winning today, or whatever the issue somebody might be having. So
I'm tired because of my insomnia diagnosis.
exactly,
I mean, it's the same sort of
keeps
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Right. It's endless, really, that way.
Well, and I think, part of your 40-year career has been reminding our whole community and the different partners about that mental health component, right? Working with law enforcement, with hospitals, with whomever you were interacting with, to say, and there's this other piece. How do we make sure it has voice at the table too?
And how do you take care of yourself through that? I know that I had a nice response from our new superintendent, Joseph Costanzo, who I keep saying he's a game changer. He's opened the door to health care.
But he wrote a note. He Department of Corrections.
Right, correct. And the correctional officers all are trained. We go up and go over a 101 mental health, what to look for, how to de-escalate a situation. But we always address self-care too, because I think there is burnout, there is all sorts of stress that comes with different jobs, that he was thankful in that I recognized that in them, and felt that their needs also matter.
Of course they do.
So I've tried to instill that anywhere and anyone who wants to listen, right? And that's been a beauty of what I've been able to do, is going out into the community and doing these educations. I've gotten to know people and made some connections that have impacted my life. I've learned something new every day from my own team, never mind the community. So that's been a gift, that just all the people and connecting people. I like the word interconnectivity. I feel it's really important. Our clients will have goals, and we have goals for our clients, and sort of walking with them to meet their needs as well, help them see what they may be helped by doing, right? So
it's funny when you said that. What popped into my mind is, of course, I love stats and data and all that stuff. I was thinking, I should have gone through my email and seen how many emails I have from Susan Mead that said, do you know this person? Can I connect you to this person? Have you ever been to this meeting? I am sure there are many over our 20 years of working together.
And you've done that. I think, like I said, I think the focus was on the clients coming in that we saw, and outreach helped open the door in meeting other people in needs. And they got to know me, and I felt it was important they know you, and that they know, I think we go into our jobs and we're doing our jobs, but part of that is connecting with others. You and I'm thinking Mike Affelberg and United Way. You've helped him so many things that he does now. There's a way, there's a give and take, there's a sharing of information, as we're interwoven totally into our community at this point. And I think that has been a real success for us. The collaboration. It isn't me. It's Lindsay. It's you. It's so many
it's
of
all
our
of us. The
staff
whole team
is now going. It's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's made a difference.
And I think, if you go all the way back to the 60s and the history of community mental health, it's sort of what people envisioned, kind of like
Right.
we're going to be in the community,
Right.
but yet there really wasn't a mechanism for it, so much stigma around it, the two different or many different systems that you were talking about. And it's really taken all of this time and people like you, you know, who are willing to be in the community making those connections that have really brought us to what I think really is the heart of community mental health.
Because it's everywhere,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And back to that. I think more people can relate to that and be open to that now than they were when I first came to work.
Yeah.
I think people are more authentic in sharing sometimes. I know when I'm going out, I'm generally checking in with the staff. How are you doing? You know, all of our worlds. I think we've done a little more in-reach, as I've been calling it lately, since we had, I don't know if you want to go there, the intense explosion at our building. I impacted our staff, clearly.
Of course it did.
And all of us will deal with that differently. And it will come in waves for some, and it hit people some directly. And so I think we're, as I say to the community, we all take our turn. Some of us are taking our turn right now, just to get through that process. And but you've already found another building. I mean, this is the leadership.
Well, thank you, Susan.
No, you're welcome. It's you don't just wait. You're like, we need to do something now.
Yeah.
And you're making that happen. Not even a month, later, we've got a plan.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, we have to have a plan, right? It's what we do. It's who we are, and I think it's the legacy that you're a part of is that adapting to what the community needs, listening to what the community needs, seeing the gaps and the impact that those have on people and people's lives. And if we're not at the forefront of trying to figure that out, it's just going to keep impacting people negatively.
You're tipping off my brain that we've brought in Integrate. We've brought in healthcare.
Yeah.
We've developed a whole veteran program. It's really expanded our scope of services to meet all needs. It feels as if somebody was very mindful in doing all that. And I know Sheila was a part of that development of the, help me out, CCBHC.
CCBHC, Certified Community Behavioral Health Center.
I knew I could count on you. And how many are?
In New Hampshire, we're one of three right now.
We're one of three.
Yeah.
So.
And hopefully our other partners, the other 7, will join us soon, because there is some resources hopefully coming into the state that will help make that happen, because we've seen its success, right? Having open access walk-in intakes makes a big difference for community access. Right. Having specialized services like the veteran services makes a difference. Having peers makes
that's
a difference.
Another huge difference, right? Hiring people with lived experience, our peer support group.
Yeah, I mean, unheard of 40 years ago.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. And then I think we're all peer supports, right?
In many
some
ways.
with titles, but different titles, right?
Yeah, we're all humans.
Rapid response is new.
Our
ability to go into the community with a clinician and somebody with lived experience, big impact. 988 has come along. The line for rapid response, if people need an immediate clinician, it's available. It's sort of gone to 911, fire, police, to psychiatric. They're recognizing how more prevalent it is, and I think that's why we've created that.
Yeah.
But yes, I think community council, there I go. That's another thing we've done. We've changed our name a few times. When clients have come back and they say, oh, I used to be part of community council, I know what era they're talking of, right? And now we're Greater Nashville Mental Health. I like that we end on health now. I like our current name. And I notice our mission statement has changed, but it always reflects that we're always trying to empower people to be the best they can. I kind of feel like that's the undertone tones of
the essence
missions.
of the mission all
Right?
along, right? Yeah,
That's always what we've been trying to do since we
right. Help
been
people
around.
lead the best possible lives they can, and in the '60s that meant hopefully in the community, not in the hospital, and
Right.
now it
Yep.
means things like supported employment and physical health as well as mental health, and so much more.
If I were to challenge the community, I'm always concerned about the affordable housing. I know when legislation years ago deinstitutionalized, I don't think they recognized the cost of housing that it
even
would
then.
be today.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of our folks are on $800 a month without a subsidy. You can't find a place to rent for that amount.
And then have money for
Food, right.
Yeah.
I will say for Nashua, we have a really active continuum of care that we
that's
do
for
know
sure.
each other. The services are amazing from the soup kitchen, right? We have the front door agency that might help with rent and first month's electricity bills or something to help them out. There's a plethora of services that we even are working better together, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of, what do you do well? How can you help us this way? And that's where we're interwoven, I think. There is some crossover of folks we help, I think.
Well, and it makes me think about sometimes part of our job is helping people access the right supports for them, right? Because not everybody needs the same support. So just like anybody that walks through our doors, some folks might get therapy and medication. Other people might not have medication. Some people might have supported employment. Other people might not. It's like an individualized treatment plan for services within the agency. It's very similar to individualize what resources people need in our community as well.
Well, because we are all different by fact, right? So that I think we all have walked a different path, right? And so when you've come, I like the symbol of the Chinese symbol for crisis. It's two signs, and it's danger because something's not working well, and opportunity. And it sort of gives crisis a harmonious look of something needs to change. And I think when people are in crisis, that's when when I have seen people really make significant changes. It's not easy to just get up and make a change in your life. And so I'm often looking for 1% change, 2% change, right? It's those little changes that's going to change somebody's destiny. And sometimes I think they don't know that they have other options. So I always say I'm dropping seeds of hope. It's sort of, you need to give folks a sense of hope, if you will, and that their lives matter. I think by having those two things, you sort of try to pull them forward out of their rut. Sometimes they recognize it where they are, and sometimes they don't recognize how they could have used that help until they're out of it, if you will.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned before, we all sort of get tunnel vision sometimes, right? And that's all of us.
Correct, right.
Just sometimes happens in deeper or different ways. But I love that you focused on hope in there. I think that is just key, because if you change one little factor, the outcome might be different. Even if you went to a math equation, right? You change one digit and the answer is different, right? You change one thing. So maybe it's the length of time somebody's been sober changes. And so now there's a different conversation, or
if it's physical, mental, it's spiritual, there are lots of paths people can go down to try and shift things, I think. And sometimes they just, I think, don't know there are other options. And so I think that's when I say seeds of hope. I'm like, well, have you thought about supportive employment? You can't deal with your boss? Maybe we can. Maybe we can work something out with you here. And that's the individual part.
Right. Or ever thought about having in-home supports, like some of our functional supports. Some people
Another new service.
Right. People are so used to thinking about mental health care as an office they go to for therapy and medication. They often don't realize, no, we can send people into your home to help with certain
into the
things.
community.
And
They're
into
dealing
the
with
community.
the hustle and bustle at Walmart or a grocery store, that can be pretty intense for people who have some anxiety. And sometimes it's walking next to somebody just to reassure them, we've got this. Yeah. You can do this. So, yes.
And the hope that a small change over time is a bigger change.
Exactly.
And because I think those two things go together. I think about, like they say with a boat, if it's going in this direction, but you shift it just this little bit over time, that's a big difference. But sometimes when you're only here, it's hard to be grateful for that little bit of difference, or you lose
because they
hope.
don't see it.
Right, you lose hope it will be the bigger difference. And
exactly. I'm glad you brought that up. I ask people if they know how to ride a sailboat, and it's that rudder, right? If you change that 1 degree, your destination will change. It's the small, little steps you take towards your health, towards holistic health, whatever that means.
Right, because if you try to change it dramatically, it's going to be uprooted and right. So a little change, but over time makes a big change.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I notice they don't see it sometimes, and you have to point it out to them.
I think we all don't see it.
Right, and that's fair. Yeah.
Right, as humans, I think sometimes people will make any sort of behavior change, take a vitamin, a diet change, stop smoking, whatever it might be, and be like, well, it's 3 days in and I don't feel better, or I haven't lost weight yet. It's like, wait, you got to give it time, right? You got to have hope. You got to keep going. But we all need somebody in our corner. And I think the difference is a lot of folks that come to us for support don't have people in our corner, so we're in their corner.
I think that's a great point. I didn't realize how greatly supported I've been, and just in my family setting, in a community setting, at mental health center. I feel supported even as a staff person, which helps all of us have a better core. And so to your point, many folks don't feel they have family, or they're estranged from their families.
No relationships with neighbors, work relationships. Yeah.
And that connection is what really helps people, right?
Yeah.
I get nervous for the ones who are isolating. Especially, I think folks with depression sometimes think they get used to the sun setting, if you will, that it can't be bright and brilliant, but yes, it can. It could be a chemical imbalance in you. It could be something that I think it just has such a stigma that they get used to thinking that they will always feel that way, versus seeing there's a chance maybe if they shifted something, that too could shift for them. Versus the folks who have a psychotic disorder, no choice of their own, right? It's sometimes it's genetic, sometimes environmental stressors might trigger something in someone that brings out something that is frightening for folks. But Anne Lamott, we're not here to see through one another. We're here to see one another through. And I think that's very true of our agency, and how I see life. I need help at times too. So I think it's we all take our turn, as I say. And it's okay to have that sense, versus some of us sometimes think, I got to figure this out on my own, that tough New England. But you get further when you bring in people. Even talking about it sort of helps you figure it out, right? It's not the therapist is going to tell you what to do. It's they listen to where you're at and how to figure out how to guide you there with your tools.
Right.
I think people have a stigma of what therapy is all about too, and it's not necessarily all nice and easy. It's sometimes that challenging question. I'm not thinking of one right this second, but it's an objective viewpoint versus going to a friend, right, who will be a little more subjective and may say the things you might want to hear. But I think a clinician is more objective, is there as a trained listener and looking for the symptoms in order to help guide what they think would be helpful to them. But
right, all with the goal of empowering people to have the best life they can possibly have and want, right? Because that looks different for all of us.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so much. There's so much that feels different yet the same, right? The care and compassion for people.
Exactly. That hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed one bit.
Right. But the number of services,
The specialization of the service.
there's a better word.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Exactly right. We, from Integrate, who is just really looking at the healthcare. When someone comes in for an intake, we're checking their blood pressures. We're checking. There seems to be more of an effort to look at somebody's whole being,
Right.
is what I've noticed over the 40 years. We hire people younger than years I've been working. I've been saying, right, which is an interesting, different dilemma as well. They're like, I wasn't even born when you were been working. But anyway, yeah.
You know, and yet, I mean, it is. It's like, it's easy to think about what's different. And yet, like, the organization's
Exactly.
been around for 105 years. Like, even well before the Mental Health Act in the 60s.
Right.
And looking at, like, those old board minutes from the 1920s, I mean, it's full of examples of community council, Greater National Mental Health, supporting the community.
Exactly.
Helping deliver milk to, you know, families with young children out in the outskirts that couldn't get the deliveries, or, you know, establishing the library, the fresh air camps,
Right.
polio clinics.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, like, just serving the community where the community needed to be served. And I mean, that you kept that going in your role and really helped, you know, really lean into it.
It was really John F. K. right, Jr., who really, in the 60s, who said you need to address mental health as you do physical health. And that's when we created the 10 mental health centers in New Hampshire, and became the real focus, became serving those with a mental health issue, right, or a severe and persistent mental health issue. But I think we've taken that, we still stretch the definition and see anybody walking in and needing help. We're not turning people away, typically, right?
We had I think it was called the Mental Hygiene Clinic.
That's right.
Or something in the 50s, or that the mental health center, before it was a mental health center, had, as well as the polio clinic. So, you know, even then, it was starting as an organization to focus on that, and knowing kind of those social determinants of health impacted people's lives.
That's right. That's right. And then and then when it became more of a focus for mental health, that I think we were, again, I think a little siloed right in the beginning. Although we've always been in the community, I think now we're even more in the community than ever before. And I think that has something to do with the stigma. I think people are aware more about the brain, and that trauma happens, and these, you might have a flashback. And what's a flashback? Well, it's might be somebody re-experiencing something they had in the war when they're using a remote and it doesn't work. And you don't know what might trigger somebody who might have a trauma history. But I think we're able to talk about it a little bit more than we used to be able to.
Thankfully.
I think we're getting there. This helps. I think continuing to bring it out into the news is new. Who has done a Empower Hour show? But of course, you will try new things to try and get that message out. So I think you continue to reach out to try and feel out what's needed next, and that's key to your leadership team. I think that you keep the pulse on that. That'll will continue to be successful because of your listening skills and of the community needs. I think that's important.
You know, and what it makes me sort of go back to is the mission, vision, the values, right? Like it's not doing it for the sake of making money as an agency, or, oh, we've identified this gap we can fill and make revenue on. It's with truly the nonprofit mission of making people's lives better, making the community a better place, with compassion and, collaboration.
Despite Medicaid asking for 2 redeterminations now, I mean, there's been so many shifts in coverage that makes it challenging that I hope folks realize we have benefit specialists. We can help navigate that.
Right. Exactly. That's so different too.
We had one person. Now we have
a team of
team of people.
Yeah.
Even the education. We have now an empowered community work group that's literally looking at the PowerPoints and updating the knowledge that might be needed to be shared. There's a team of people now working on these things. There's a team of IT people, technical people. We had one HR, human resource. Now we have 5. I mean, of course, we've grown, so I see the need for those things. But it's heartwarming that we're growing because it's showing there's the need, and we're delivering the goods, because I think, well, what do we serve? 5,000
about
people
5,000 a year,
in our 10 surrounding towns, right?
Yeah.
Although we now can take people from the whole state.
For certain services, substance use.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So,
it's
well, mind blowing.
In 2020, we turned 100 as an organization, and it was 2020. It was the pandemic. So you remember, right? We didn't have a big celebration, but we created a video. And you were part of that video. And you talk about many of the same things you said today, like the hope, but there's one line in it that you say, it's a remarkable statement about people. And I love that line, because it's not about you, it's not about me.
Yeah.
It's about people and humans and our ability to learn, adapt, be resilient when we work together. And
connect, yes.
I hear that coming from you again. Like, it's our community and people have the ability to lead better lives if they say yes to some support along the way.
That's right. Getting to yes.
Yeah,
right?
getting to yes.
Getting
exactly.
to yes. You matter.
Yeah.
And then you look at our support teams, from the clinicians, from the front door greeting you. Yeah. We have so many people walking in with different tones and attitudes and cultures, and I love our receptionists that are very flexible in greeting and dealing with that constantly, to the case managers, to the clinicians, to the APRNs, the psychiatrists, IT. I mean, we're such a team.
And we're not a perfect team.
No, oh gosh, no.
And because we're humans, right? Talking about that. But our vision, our heart, our intentions, our values.
I think some of my best teachings are from my mistakes, for sure.
I agree.
Right. I always point out when I've done something wrong. You learn from it. If you can't learn from that mistake, you may repeat that. So it's
so
sort
true.
of, yeah. I think that's one of the gifts that the mental health centers brought to me, is just the constant learning. That it's, and I like to learn. It's feeding my mind, right? And
you said learning something new every day has been part of the gift of this work.
Correct.
For you.
It is.
Yeah.
It is part of the gift, and the connections. That's priceless. The connections I've made. Really, there's a whole web of folks that we work with now that I know will help me if I make a phone call, and they know I'm going to help them if they make that phone call. It's sort of that we have a consistency of compassion. I think there's a core of services in this town that really do support each other. I do. We learned that through our tragedy, losing the building, of the outpouring calls
so much
were
support.
Amazing. It just, my phone just didn't stop for a couple of days,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
And you will receive those calls as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And I think it's a remarkable statement about you and how connected you are. That while I was receiving calls, you were receiving calls, and we were comparing notes. Who reached out to you that maybe should reach out to me? And
exactly.
Who reached out to me?
Right. I'm not the leadership. You need to reach out to Cynthia. Yeah, exactly right. No, people wanted to help, and this is I'm not on that team, but I know there's a team, and many people know you too at this point, Cynthia. You've gotten yourself out there, which is you're as much probably better known than me now at this point. So that's how it should be.
What I really want folks to know is, though you've been a pillar of this community, you've always represented a team. Right? And
exactly.
you've been a big face of the team, but often you were on the back end saying, okay, you case manager, help this, and helping us do better by the people that reached out to you. And maybe this 40-year difference could be anyone on the team can take a phone call and connect people. And may we learn that power of connection
It
from
happened
you.
today. I'm training my replacement, Nicole Forbes, or Nicole Nealon before, and it happened to us. We were visiting our peer support center, and a grandmother was concerned about her child not being seen. I'm like, but they were already connected. So I said, Nicole, this is what I'll do. I will take that name, find out. They were supposed to see a therapist at 4:40, and some things have changed. So a lot have happened. Let us look into that.
Right.
And that it's not necessarily an outreach client, but it's a community asking for our help. So we're not going to say, no, that's not my job. It's like, of course, we're going to take that information. Let me see how we can help you. It may not be me, right? But I'm going to get a hold of you or the clinician saying, could you reach out to this person?
And our goal is eventually that any person on the team will do that and learn that, just how important that is. And I think that's a gift you're giving us.
Well, thank you for that. I know when I don't know, right? So it's okay to say, I don't know the answer to that, but I know someone who can help us with this.
Yeah.
That's the brilliance, I think, the diversity of folks I work with. That's a gift. I look to Donna Abatelli Collins to update my PowerPoints. She knows the current verbiage. It's, that I can go out and present, but
we're a team.
We are a team, and that's why it works.
Right? They say it takes a village, and we're our own little village sometimes.
Yes.
Both inside the mental health center and then outside with our community partners. Well,
I thank you. You've been a great leader, and I think, as I said, if you look up mindfulness, there's a picture of you, because I think you really try to look at the bigger picture when you're making decisions. So thank you.
It's not about me, about you, but
I share the stage.
So Susan, to always think about connecting others and lifting others up. And I can't tell you how grateful I am, all of the staff. I mean, when we launched this show 5 years ago, we set out a survey, who should be the first guests, and hands down, it was you.
I don't understand that, but that's still, it's all good.
It's because of the wisdom, the connections, and just how important, your time has been in helping us be better. And it's a remarkable statement about all of us.
Correct. It's been a privilege.
Yes.
It's really been a privilege.
Well,
thank you.
I am so grateful for the time you've given Greater Nashville Mental Health, the community, the continuum of care, just all of us, we're just ever so grateful for all you've done and for you being here today to just kind of chat and reflect on it all with me.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's been a privilege to serve with you and everybody. The community has embraced us in a different way, I think, today than, and I try to help make those paths. And so now everyone make it their own, but I think that there are lots of, I don't know, there are more doors have been opened because we're a better community together. I think that makes a difference.
And I trust the next chapter for you will be just as empowered as this one has been.
We'll see.
And just look different. So thank you so much.
You're welcome.
And thank you for joining us with this special episode of the Empower Hour. Have an empowered day.